Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hope Dealers. I am Pastor Chris,
I'm Deacon Robert.
And I'm Pastor Kenneth.
and we are
The
the
Hope,
Hope
Hope
Dealers.
Dealers.
And we're going to get in here tonight and we're going to talk a little bit and bring you some awareness about what's going on in the world of fentanyl. This is not just a crisis, this is like the biggest number one killer in America right now, and probably around the world. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm just going to read off some statistics, and as I read it through, I may ask my guys here if they got anything they want to add to it. And again, we're here to bring awareness, but we're here to bring hope because all three of us, we have fought addiction and we won. So far, we've won. Um, so I think that qualifies us a little better than reading a book about it. I don't know about you, but anyway. So what I want to talk about is a lot of people don't even know what fentanyl is. So fentanyl is a synthetic opioid typically used to treat patients with chronic severe pain and severe pain following surgery. And yes, guys, I'm reading off of here because I cannot retain all this. Fentanyl is a Schedule II controlled substance that is similar to morphine, but get this, guys, it's about 100 times stronger than morphine. And it's just potent stuff, man. And under the supervision of a licensed medical professional, fentanyl has a legitimate medical use. Patients prescribed fentanyl should be monitored for the potential of misuse. I will say that. As an ex addict and someone who's had, I think I've had right at 18 surgeries now, 19. If they give me any kind of painkiller, it goes straight to my wife. And I say, baby, put this up, give it to me when I'm supposed to have it, and don't let me know where it's at because it's so easy. It is just so easy to backtrack. But guys, when you hate your addiction as bad as I did and I do, you don't ever want to go back there. Now, fentanyl. It's illicit fentanyl and primarily manufactured in foreign secret labs. And it's smuggled into the United States through Mexico mostly and is being distributed across the country and sold on the illegal drug market. And fentanyl, here's what I want the most awareness. Fentanyl is being mixed in with all other illicit drugs. And they're doing it to increase the potency of the drug, and it's sold as a powder. And it's also sold as nasal sprays and increasingly pressed into pills made to look legitimate as the prescription opioids. You can get a pill and it looks exactly like an oxy and it's 100% fentanyl. You can get a Xanax that looks exactly like a Xanax, 100% fentanyl. And what really is ticking a lot of people off is they're even melting this stuff down and spraying it on marijuana. So I've had guys in my prison ministry that have overdosed from smoking weed in the prison because it was laced with fentanyl. Guys, they're not playing. This is bad stuff. You see, there's no official oversight or quality control on those labs that are the secret labs, we'll call them, because these are counterfeit pills and they often contain lethal doses of fentanyl with none of the promised drug at all. They're selling it to you as an oxy. There's no oxy in that. It's 100% fentanyl. Um, Robert, you used to do a lot of pills.
Yes, sir.
What do you say about what kind of warning can you give these people?
Well, there's no more recreational drug use as we know it. You can't run down to East Nashville no more and get the lotters off the side of the street like we used to back in the 90s. Uh, Number one, it don't work like that. It's changed. People, you never know what you're getting. I don't care if you're getting a bag of speed, a pill. Uh, well, the last time that I overdosed, I was supposedly doing some heroin, and when I took a drug test, uh, I tested positive for heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl, And I remember what it looked like when we bought it because the guy that we got it from made a canoe out of a receipt, and it was rainbow fentanyl, and
Cocktail.
it was three different colors. It was white in the middle, and the bluish green, and then orange. And I did a spec. We had a set of scales that went down to like 100, and it didn't even register on the set of scales. I mean, this set of scales would measure the dust,
Wow. Wow.
and
You
it
know,
killed me.
it, yeah, I mean, it'll kill you. I mean, they say that even the dust in the bag, that's why they tell the police always wear gloves when they're searching somebody. Guys, y'all got to understand there is significant risk that illegal drugs have been intentionally contaminated with fentanyl. They're not accidentally putting this in there. And guys, I'm telling you, I don't understand because we all sold dope, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Why you won't kill your customers? I mean, I'm a capitalist over everything else. I'm a money making fool. I'm a hustler, and I'm not gonna wipe out my
Clientele.
clientele by killing them. So where's this coming from? And is it is it the fact that the people that's manufacturing this thing don't know how to manufacture where it's just a little, or are they intentionally trying to kill everybody in the United States?
Well, when I was doing my research on this last night, it's so hard to measure. They don't really know how potent what they're putting in to the drugs actually is because it's so hard to measure the potency of it. So they may think that they're only putting a certain amount in there, but at the same time, they don't know how potent that certain amount is.
Well, one thing I read too, Kenny, is that because of its potency and the low cost, I mean, guys, that's the biggest thing. This stuff is dirt cheap. I mean, you give that homeless person $5, you gave them more than enough to kill themselves on fentanyl. And the drug dealers, they've been mixing fentanyl with other drugs, including heroin, like he was talking about, and methamphetamine and cocaine, and it's increasing the likelihood of a fatal interaction. And the guys that are mixing this stuff, they really don't know what they're doing, and because it's so cheap, they're not worried about wasting it. Back in the day when I was doing cocaine and stuff, man, you didn't want to bump nobody's hand or nothing else when they was measuring that stuff out because it was just so expensive. This stuff, it don't cost nothing. Uh, Robert, what was that you was telling me about on the dark web? You can buy what?
Uh, well, I've been out of the game for about 3 years now, but back used to, you could get on the world market. They supposedly changed the name of the dark web to the world market now. But you could get on there and buy a zip, which is an ounce, for a little over $200,
Wow,
and you could kill a lot of people with an ounce of pure fentanyl.
man, that's like taking out all of Madison and probably Nashville.
Yeah.
And guys, it's out there. It is out there. But you got to understand that producing illicit fentanyl, it's not an exact science. Like I said, they don't really know. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal, depending on a person's body size and tolerance and past usage. The DEA analysis has found counterfeit pills ranging from zero point zero 0.02 to 5.1 milligrams, more than twice the lethal dose of fentanyl per tablet. 42% of the pills tested for fentanyl contained at least 2 milligrams of fentanyl, considered a potentially lethal dosage. Guys, it's like Robert said, just the dust can kill you. And these guys are mixing this stuff up and putting it on anything and everything. It's like Frank's hot sauce. Put that stuff on everything, right?
Right.
I mean, they don't like my boy smoking weed in jail and dying, having to be rushed to the hospital and being Narcaned and hit with the EAD paddles or I forget what those things are.
There was a woman not too long ago. She found a dollar bill at a McDonald's. I think it was off of 40 and Highway 70. They continued on their trip, got down to 40 and Old Hickory Boulevard. She was overdosing in her car because that dollar bill had been used to snort. And
Just
it
the
got,
dust off of it.
and just what she had on that dollar bill from where she picked it up, it absorbed through her skin and caused her to overdose. And her family almost lost her because of someone else's negligence.
Well, man, that goes back to what I tell everybody is you don't know. You wash your hands, man. Just wash your hands, and keep some hand sanitizer in your car or
Well,
something.
the hand sanitizer made it absorb faster.
Did it?
Yes.
Cancel that, man.
Opened up her pores.
Yep.
Wow. Well, again, guys, you don't know. You just don't know. That's why you see something, somebody lays something on your car, don't take it off. Let it blow off down the road. I know it's littering, but it's better than dying. And when you're out there driving, you don't know what zombies behind the wheel. I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm trying to be real. You don't know what kind of a person is behind that wheel. I mean, I've done so many funerals for people who overdosed in their car in a Walmart parking lot and was found dead in their car. You just gotta be on the lookout, man, and that's why we've got to bring awareness to this, and we're going to have to get our government involved somehow. But I'm afraid that we're not going to be able to get them involved because they might have something to do with it. I mean, it's coming across the borders like wildfire. But guys, drug trafficking organizations, they typically don't distribute fentanyl by the kilogram. 1 kilogram of fentanyl has the potential to kill, get this number, 500,000 people. 500,000. That's all of Nashville and surrounding cities, guys. It's it is possible for someone to take a pill without even knowing it contains fentanyl. I mean, Kenneth just talked about a woman who was handling a dollar bill someone had snorted fentanyl with, almost dying. But guys, there's no way of knowing if it contains a lethal dose or not. Every time, guys, if you're out there and you're struggling with this addiction, know every time you use fentanyl in any form, it's like Russian roulette. One of the things that's we've experienced so much because, year before last, we got over 100 people in rehabs, and it never fails. We get them set up for rehab, they're ready to go, and everybody wants to go out and get that one last high. And sometimes that one last time really is one last time. It's crazy, guys. Um, this counterfeit stuff it is crazy. 500,000 people, just that 1 kilogram of fentanyl. And it's possible for someone to take a pill without knowing it contains it in there. I mean, do you really think about the consequences of that? No, I don't think so because there's so many people dying. Kenny's going to get into that here in just a minute. But according to the CDC, synthetic opioids like fentanyl are the primary driver of overdose death in the United States. A comparison between 12 months ending January 31st, 2020, and the 12 months ending January 31st, 2021. Guys, COVID wasn't the only thing killing people in 2020. The government was sending out all them big checks to everybody. And you got people locked up in their home and they got a handful of money. And you think Uber Eats is fast, call your dope dealer. He'll be there quicker than anybody.
Call you plug.
Yeah, he's sitting there on the corner waiting on you to call him. And they were making money hand over fist. COVID was not the only thing killing people. And the thing is, they kind of getting COVID under control now. But this fentanyl, it's wild. It's wild as a buck. Guys, overdose deaths involving opioids rose 38.1%. Overdose involving synthetic opioids, primarily illicitly manufactured fentanyl, rose to 55.6% and appeared to be the primary driver of the increase in total drug overdose deaths. Unless a drug is prescribed by a licensed medical professional and dispensed by a legitimate pharmacy, you can't know if it's fake or legit today. And without laboratory testing, there is no way to know the amount of fentanyl in an individual pill or how much it may have been added to another drug. This is especially dangerous because of the potency of fentanyl. Guys, 100 times more than morphine? That is crazy. And they don't care if you live or die, and that is obvious.
Yep.
Now, Kenneth, you got some stats. I want to hear what you got to say to match up the stats I found.
All right. So, like Pastor Chris said, uh, it is 100 times more potent as morphine, and it's 80 times more potent than heroin. It was approved by the FDA in it's about the 1950s, 1960s. But since 2020, we'll start in 2020, just the past 4 years, there's been 70,029 deaths in 2020. In 2021, there was 80,816 deaths from fentanyl. 2022, it rose to 83,654 people. And in 2023, there's 112,323 people. In 4 years, that's 346,000 people, 822. On average, that's 86,705 people per year. That's 238 people per day. That's 10 people per hour. That is one person every 6 minutes overdosing from 200 millimeters. Now, guys, just to break this down, it's going to be hard for us to catch on camera. When I was studying this last night, it said 200 milliliters
What you kill
is
you?
equal to 15 grains of salt. That right there.
That little white corner.
I'm going to have to put this in front of my shirt. Can you zoom in on that?
That little bit right there. That's okay.
It's all right. Kind of just shows you. That's more than 15 grains of salt. You ever tried to find 15 grains of salt, pick them up individually? It's more of probably about 30 grains of salt in there. That's 2 lethal doses of fentanyl.
Man.
Now, Pastor Chris, when we were talking about this, I told you I wasn't well versed in fentanyl. But I am. I did go through addiction, and off of my research, what I found was it's pretty hard to pick up 15 grains of salt. I can't imagine what the people are thinking who are manufacturing this. It's pure evil.
It is demonic.
It's the devil's breath.
Well, Robert, you said it. There is no more recreational drug use.
No, we can't just go get a pill, get high. It
You
don't
can't
work
even,
like that.
from the sounds of it, you can't even go get a bag of weed and get high anymore.
You can't. I mean, it's.
Not unless you get it from the dispensary.
What do you think about all this?
I think it's the very essence of the devil to steal, kill, and destroy. I've had so many friends die, you couldn't put them in this room. I got a friend I call every so often just to see who's died at home.
Mm.
It's out of hand. And I know why they do it. I know why the dealers do it. They do it because they can get the cut cheap. See, cut used to be baby laxative,
Mm-hmm.
used to be vitamins. Well, they can get this potent cut now,
Fentanyl.
yeah, and make their dope go further. They can stretch a key out, and it's killing people.
And they don't even know how much they're putting in there.
No,
They don't have a clue.
and the potency depends on the person's tolerance. Because you could take a person like me when I used to go to the methadone clinic, and me and my ex old lady took care of a terminally ill cancer patient. He got 100 microgram fentanyl gel patches, U.S. pharmaceutical fentanyl patches. I would pump 100 micrograms in the side of my neck every 3 days,
Mm.
on top of 120 milligrams of methadone a day. That's what kind of tolerance that I had.
And that's the other thing that people don't realize is so, like, when you get clean for a specific amount of time,
Yeah, I was getting to that part.
yeah, you get clean for a specific amount of time, and then they go back out there and they think they're gonna be able to hit that again, that same dosage again. And one of two things happens. Well, first of all, once you lose your tolerance and you try to hit that, you're looking at death. But if you don't understand what, like you said, what it's cut with, if you don't understand what it's cut with and how much it's cut with, you're definitely looking at death.
And you never know walking up to the guy on the street corner. I mean, you just never know. And I was in, and this is bad to say, but I was an IV drug user for so long that I have permanent track marks on my arms
How long did you use, Robert?
for 30 years
30 years. How many times have you overdosed and died
on fentanyl, 4 times,
overall?
probably six.
6 times. The Lord had his hand on you.
Yep.
The Lord had his hand on Robert, that's for sure. Well, guys, let me talk to you a minute. Let me just talk to you. You see here, I hope we've educated. I hope we've educated some parents tonight, some spouses. This stuff is going to kill your husband or your wife. This stuff is brutal. It is brutal. And we're here to bring hope. And if you see across the bottom of that screen right there, Brandon, bring that camera up a little bit on the close-ups. Yeah. You see that on the bottom of the screen right there. There's our phone number. There's our new email address. If you or somebody you know is having a problem with this and they want to get help, call us and let us see if we can help you get in somewhere or help them or even educate the parent or the spouse on ways they can make sure that you're helping and not enabling, because there's a very fine line between helping and enabling. We're just here to try to bring the awareness to just how bad it is and how little can take your life. And guys, it don't have an age. Your kid could be in the 7th grade and get a hold of fentanyl.
An Adderall. He could get a hold of a fake Adderall.
Yes, the fake Adderall, because they don't know no better, you know. So let them watch Hope Dealers, and maybe we can educate them too. You have an intervention. You go in and have an intervention with the person. Play some of this for them. We're going to be having some testimonies on here of people who have been through it, possibly people who are still going through it, so that they can give you guys some advice. But I'm going to tell y'all, we are not going to be like these other addiction podcasts. We're not going to get on here and use profanity and curse, because we have seen the difference between a faith-based rehab and a non-faith-based rehab, a secular rehab. Again, addiction is not the problem. Addiction is the result of a problem, and we need to be able to help. But the only thing that'll ever truly help is them having a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Kenneth,
You know,
tell them about that part.
I'm glad you brought. I was just about to ask if I could jump in here. I had when I got sober, or after I got sober, I've had a lot of people ask me, because I know a lot of people who don't believe in God because of my past in the haunted houses. And they'd ask me, well, don't you think it's just a mindset that, now your mind knows that you can be sober? No. And the reason why I say that is because I tried time and time and time again to get sober, and it never worked. It didn't work until I got God. God is what's kept me sober.
Why? How did God keep you sober? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I think it's Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to the ways of the
Yes, sir, it
world, but
is.
be renewed in the mind.
I'm preaching on that tomorrow night.
Nice. Oh, Brother Buford.
Yep, Brother Buford. Robert, how did Jesus keep you from doing it?
He, well, I tell you, there's a Bible verse. I can't remember. I think it's in Matthew or Luke, and it's just like when you. It says, "When you've done this to one of the least of these, you've done it unto me."
Right?
So every time, and I mean, I don't even think about using a needle anymore. I mean, I detest that. It turns my stomach. But I still have a heart for people that do,
Right.
if they want help.
Well, that's like, when I was in Team Challenge, they made us go out and give our testimonies. I mean, like all the time. And when I worked with Team Challenge, it became my job to take the others out. Because if you give your testimony and you talk about what your addiction not only cost you, but your family, what your addiction did to your children, your moms, your dads, when you think about it, it don't just affect you, it affects everybody around you. You begin to hate your addiction. You hate it. You despise it. And so
That's one thing with young addicts. I believe young addicts don't realize that what they do doesn't only affect them;
right,
it affects everyone around them. Uh, it will destroy you. I mean, it'll take your soul.
right on.
It will rob you of the very essence of life.
I think it was the first time that I gave my testimony to somebody, was the first time I felt God run through me. And I came back to the center that night and told you about it. I didn't even know what it was when I was talking to the guy, and I felt the electricity go through me, and
Holy Spirit.
felt like I was standing off to the side watching myself. And that was you can't buy that feeling.
No. And there again, once you have that personal relationship with Christ, and once you fall in love with Christ, many a time I've told y'all, when everybody, Brother Buford came to me, he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "You got an intimate relationship with Christ?" And I'm like, "Whoa, dude, that's freaky, man." Because I thought of intimacy as sex. That was just the bottom line. I thought an intimate relationship involves sex.
Yeah.
Because the old people used to ask you, "Are you and her intimate?" You know, but it ain't. Intimate is love, falling in love, and when you fall in love with someone, you don't want to hurt them. So when someone leads you to Christ and they help you to fall in love with Christ, that changes the game. Because it's like my 18-year-old sent me or put it on his story on Instagram today, and it was the beaten, crucified picture of Christ. And it said, if he was sitting beside you, would you do it? And that's what it boils down to. And that's what I used to ask people all the time. Would you stick that needle in Jesus's arm? No, I don't think so.
No,
Would you pour that bottle of whiskey down Jesus's lips?
Nope.
I don't think so. And this is our temple. And if God lives inside of us, right?
Right.
we grieve the Holy Spirit when we do it.
We would not do that to him. Jesus don't want to live in no crack house. So we got to clean the house up for him. So guys, that's just a little testimony to go with what we've educated on tonight. We hope you've enjoyed tonight. Again, if you know somebody that's out there struggling, fighting that oppression of addiction, please call us, email us. If you got questions on tonight's episode, please send us an email, and Kenneth's going to be checking them, and he's going to bring them to us, and we're going to discuss it, and we will try to make that a topic for one of our podcasts. So, guys, remember, God loves you. We love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace.